Hey, this is Luke Simons with Salt Strong. Today we're going to be talking about just maximizing your money, your expenditures when using Berkeley Gulp Shrimp products. I've been using these a lot. I have a love-hate relationship with them. You know, they are good about catching fish, but they can get expensive. And I've recently done some at least more detailed analysis, and I just realized that I've been making some mistakes. I've been overspending, so I wanted to make sure that you aren't doing that. So first part, we're going to talk about how to save money at the store, and then secondly, we're going to talk about how to save money when you're using Berkeley Gulp products, while you're actually using them, and to save some hassle as well. All right, so let's get started about in the store first. Let me get those out of the way. So in the store, you pretty much have at least 2 or 3 options. So the 2 most common ones are you can get it by the pack. It comes in packs of 6. Or you can get them in this bucket here that has all the little juice and stuff. So in the past, I always thought, I've just assumed that since we're buying them in bulk, right? There's definitely more than 6 in this bucket. So I'd assume since I was buying in bulk, I'm saving money, right? That's just kind of how we're taught to believe as shoppers. And then conversely, right? This is only 6. There's not that many, so I'm going to be paying more per bait if I do this relative to this. But the problem is I just never did the math. I just always had assumed, and what really, I guess, made me actually do it is that they actually had this smaller option too. This is a smaller bucket. And then you can actually count it, right? And so they're pretty smart. They never actually show a quantity of how many gulps are in these buckets. They never show it. And so I'm going to actually count this one. This is the one that's really in question. This one is definitely not going to be the best deal. You can it's easy to count these. There's 7. And this container cost, it was $9.96. And so it was an additional $3 more than just the packet. So for an extra $3, you get 1 more gulp. And these generally run, just over $1 per gulp on the packet. So getting this, I would say, is not a very good deal. So don't pick these up when you're at the store. So now the big question is, okay, how does the price per gulp compare on the container versus the package? And on doing the math, there needs to be at least 17. There needs to be over 17 gulps in here to make it where if all you care about is getting the gulp baits, that this would be a smart decision over the pack. So let's go ahead and we'll just open it up and just count them just to see what the actual count is. And I'm just going to go ahead and put them in this little this bucket. This is where they'll be going anyhow, and I'll talk about this later. But this is a waterproof Plano little box. It is really good for holding these gulps. So this is 1, 2, 3, 15, and 16. So not quite 17, but it was actually closer than I thought. So yeah, that came up to 16 total. So let's do the math there. All right, so that total comes out to $1.25. So it's $1.25 per gulp when you get them in these larger bins. But again, that's still more than the packet. It's not much more, but it is more. So at the full retail at $6.99, which is what Gulp shows it, it's $1.17 per gulp at these little packets. But when I was out shopping, they were actually selling for $5.96. And so that took it down to 99 cents per gulp. So assuming you can get them at around $6, Walmart generally has probably the lowest prices. That's going to be $1 per gulp. And so getting in the buckets actually costs 25% more than the package. All right, so now that we know that the cost per gulp is better when you get the packets, the benefit of getting a container like this is that you can keep a lot in there and keep them just totally saturated in the formula. Although it doesn't have to be saturated, it's proof. Just the fact that they last so well in these packets, they don't have to be totally saturated. They just need to be in an area that is not exposed to air where they will not dry out. So as far as, if you do want to saturate your baits and you do want to have a lot and you don't want to deal with all these containers, is that, using these is a big frustration that I hear a lot, because these are very prone to leak. And this little juice in here, whatever's in here is potent. And so what I like to do, when doing it in bulk, is get these little Plano boxes. Let me get it up so it doesn't leak on me. Yeah, these little Plano boxes, they're totally waterproof. And a big benefit of doing this versus the gulp containers is because the very bottom is totally flat. It's totally flat, whereas these containers, it's a little bit of a concave. And then when those baits are lying on a non-flat surface, they're eventually going to form a little curve, which is going to negatively impact the motion in the water. So using this type of container does two things. It serves you two things that's good. First of all, it keeps the baits flat, which means that they're not going to have the curve motion, which means that they're going to look better in the water. Also, they're not going to leak. I've used these things a lot. They never do leak, and they're really not that expensive. They're only, I think they're less than $5, and I'll put a link down below for details on it, but they've been pretty cool. And so one question that I get a lot is, can I put different colors in one container, and will, I guess, will they bleed or will they not bleed is really the question. So I have an old container that I haven't used in probably, I would say, at least a year and a half. It's been both in the boat and sitting in my garage for a very long time. There's a lot of different colors in there, and this literally has not been open in at least a year, and so we'll see. You know, we'll see firsthand. This is probably gonna be pretty nasty, but I can see right now that these white ones, this thing is really on there good. I'm gonna have to get a little bit more forceful to get this thing open. There we are. So yeah, so these white ones, you know, they're still pretty white. They definitely held their color. So they were in there with a lot of greens, right, and even new pennies. So they did bleed a little bit. It's not like a pure white like how it started, but it's definitely not terrible. So in short duration, you know, keeping them in colors, you know, different colors in one box is definitely not a problem. If you leave it there for over a year, they'll start bleeding a little bit, but they'll still work. You know, the color isn't that big of a factor. And it is interesting to feel, you know, that these actually do feel good still, right? They feel like they are still pretty new. The only difference is, like, this used to be, you know, brighter white. It's a little bit off color, but overall, I'd say they're still in good shape. All right, so in conclusion, you know, the packets are going to be a better value on a cost per bait basis. But if you do like to have the bigger bins, then I definitely recommend, you know, just going and getting a waterproof container. You can just buy one of these, right, and then we'll just dump this water into the container. And so now they're going to have a ton of liquid in there, and again, it's more than enough. So I'll even stop it before it's even full. So that's going to be more than enough to hold these baits for years, and it'll be good. And so now going forward, all I would need to do then is just, you know, to add more to it, I would just buy more of these packets, leave this how it is, and then it should be good to go. And the best part is that no matter where I put this or what angle it's at, it's not going to leak, and this is going to be as watertight as possible. And so if you do have any questions, or if you have any other methods of preserving your gulp baits that I didn't mention, you know, please do leave a comment down below. This is really meant to be a discussion. I just wanted to share with you the fact that kind of surprised me that the actual, you know, buying in bulk relative to the packets doesn't actually save money on a per bait basis, because you're actually paying for the juice. And so the most cost-effective route is just to go with the packets and just leave them in the packets while you use them and just put them back in. Yes, that will leak some, and so to prevent leakage, you know, really get one of these containers. These have been surprisingly effective. Anyhow, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully it'll help you save some money in the long run. No telling how much I've overspent by buying those big containers when I really didn't need to, and I just want to make sure that you didn't make that same mistake too. So thank you so much for your time and watching this video. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. Otherwise, I hope you can get on the water soon and catch some big ones.